Welcome to Foot by the Foot. I got Florian Valot here. Welcome, Flo.
What's up, David?
How are you doing?
Very good. You? It's been a long time, huh?
Yeah, I'm glad that there's another guy that I know that ended up in the Bay Area. But for the viewers that don't know you, if you can give a little background on who you are, your playing career, how you ended up in the U.S.
Yeah, so originally I'm from France. Born in France, grew up a little bit all over the world, kind of all my parents' work, but did most of my youth career in France. Played academy at PSG in Monaco, and fortunately didn't make it and decided to go the US route. Got offered a scholarship to go play D1 at Rider University. Played there for 2 years, graduated, and was fortunate enough to earn a tryout at New York Red Bulls, and from there I just played Red Bulls for 6 years, 2 years in USL, 4 years in MLS. I had a small, short stint at Cincinnati for a few months, and then the last 4 years I've played USL and in Miami for Miami FC and in Virginia for London United, and now currently playing in, as you said, the Bay Area in Oakland, one of your former teams.
Yeah, talk about growing up in Paris, and obviously the U.S. is trying to move in that direction in terms of like building the soccer culture. But talk about your experience being immersed in that, and how big soccer truly is in France.
Yeah, soccer is the main sport in France. Whereas in the US, you would have basketball, football, baseball. France is mainly the sport kids play outside. I grew up in the era where France was becoming world champion in '98, so that fueled the dream of becoming a professional soccer player. And in Paris, like the region is just loaded with talent. You look at the national team, and most of the players are actually from the area, or the suburbs. So getting attention was very difficult. Playing for PSG was very, very difficult because of the talent there was, and everybody at the youth level, you all fight for one thing: is the pro contract. And out of 30 players in a roster, there's potentially maybe one who would try to sign or who would sign first team contract. So it was a very like good learning experience. Spent like 5.5 years in the academy, and surrounded by very, very good coaches that taught me the basics of football. And this is when I realized how important it was when I first moved to the US, and see how easier it was for me. And I had a little edge over all those players because of the way I was taught back home. And as you were saying, like we here in the US, I say we because I've been here for so long, but we're trying to replicate that now here. And you as a coach and me as a player, and we see it slowly changing. We see better players coming up. The structure of the academies is changing as well, which try to replicate the European one. So a lot of good things coming. I think we lack still the quality coaches in America, but yeah, I think I was fortunate enough to play for two of the major academy in France, and work under very, very good coaches that taught me a lot, honestly.
Yeah, and I think also something that just not just in France, but throughout Europe, throughout the world, you have the opportunity to just go play pickup, and it's like normal. And here it's, I think in Chicago there's like one place you can pop in and play pickup, but besides that, there aren't too many places where you can just go play with random strangers and just enjoy the beautiful game. So I think that that's also an element of, we spoke a little bit about this earlier, but um, you know, that's where you can kind of create that, find that creativity as a player. You could try things that you wouldn't try in a formal setting. And then also to add to that is, I'm sure but through the MLS now, there's a big emphasis. It's called the EFCL course. It's a French course that MLS. It's mostly MLS academy coaches that go through that, and you've seen the coaching improve. I have a guy right now that I coach with. He's on the course, and the methodology that the French use is pretty interesting. But like I could see why that has aided, developing players. You know, obviously there's different ways to play. There's not one right way, one wrong way. But I think the beauty of this country is we have people from all over the world. So finding that like a little bit of flavor from everywhere, I think is important. And you've been fortunate enough, you're in Oakland, you spent some time in New York, you've experienced playing in different parts of the country. What's been like, if you can compare that to France, like, is it similar in terms of like by region? Because for me, like when I think about my playing time, I got to play in the Eastern Conference and Western Conference. Eastern Conference is very like aggressive, athletic, and then the Western Conference is a little more, I would say,
Playing
yeah,
based.
you play more. Is it similar? Would you say in France by region?
Not really. I wouldn't say that because, well, I didn't play. I played fourth division. It was very high still at the time because I was still young. But I've never really fully played like first second division back home. So I wouldn't say. But the thing is with France, all the coaches they are taught the same way, and they need to have those certification licenses to be able to coach. And there's a certain, as you said, methodology that everybody uses. So in the academy, when we played other teams from opposite part of the country, the style of play was very similar at times. It was very okay, depending because when I was at PhD, the recruiting was based on physicality. So it was very like athletic players, tall, strong, and fast, which over time changed. When you look at the roster now, it's more like more technical. They were much thinner, quicker on the ball. You look at all the young guys that came out of PSG Academy that are actually playing on the first team now. They're more like technical based, less of an athletic specimens. But I think the US is very unique to that. And as you're saying, I think it's because of the multicultural like aspect of the game here. Like you had Dutch coming over, and then you had English people. Now you have the French kind of taking over with the MLS. So as you say, it's adding a little bit of flavor to it, and you have to, especially in USL, for example, you have to adapt every weekend because it's not like you playing the same style every weekend. It's always different, so you always have to adapt, which is very fun in my opinion.
Yeah. What was the difference, would you say, between PSG and Monaco? In terms of, would you say it was very similar in terms of the demands that you had, or was there, different kinds of emphasis in the development from both academies, from your
Now
experience?
the fans of are pretty much the same. They're very high. The emphasis is on the basics, the fundamentals of playing, the technical ability, the understanding of the game and the movements of the players. The only difference was in the players. I think it was less of an athletic built roster in Monaco than it was at PSG. When you look at my picture from PSG's roster, like I'm one of the smallest, skinnier guy, and I kind of stick out to be honest. But yeah, like I think it's kind of similar. I would say the difference you would see is how they build rosters based on the teams. So as I said, PSG would just emphasize on the size, the speed, and the athleticism. Other team in the south would be more based on the technical ability. But at the end of the day, every team tried to play football. There was no like the English style. Like when I played a few years in Scotland because I lived there, and over there it was just kick and run. Like it was just literally like punt the ball forward, run after the ball, and make something happen.
Yeah. What was obviously, were you able to play with any guys that are currently playing, like any top pros that you can name off the top of your head?
Yeah, I was not disappointed, but I thought my PSG team, like some of the guys there, would have better career. The one who's really succeeded, and we kind of knew he would, was the goalie for West Ham, Alphonse Areola, which was at the time like already a beast. He was 16, he already had signed a professional contract, was a Nike athlete, like everything. But it was more so in Monaco where I played with Vera Carrasco, Belgium national team, played for Atletico Madrid. Um, and I played for with a few guys. A guy named Napoli Smendi. I think he won the Premier League with Leicester at the time. So he's this stocky, small midfielder. Then a few guys that play in Serie A and La Liga. So overall, I think the roster we had in Monaco did better, and more players signed professional and had good career. But no one that stands out. People ask me, "Were you there when Mbappe was there?" No, I was not because he's much younger than I am. But Monaco has that tendency with PSG to just be able to develop all those like quality players.
Yeah. What was it? I mean, I think to the kids I work with now and like their schedule, were you there all day or was it at like what point are you going to school there full time? You know,
So the system
breakfast, lunch, dinner, training, gym, video, living there.
house.
Yeah.
So at PSG, they had the dorms. So it was a main building. The main floor was the cafeteria and some like living spaces with TV, ping pong table. The basement was the classrooms where the teacher would come in. So every day we would have classes based on our training schedule. So if we train in the morning, we have class in the afternoon. If we train in the afternoon, we have class in the morning. And then the first floor was the dorms. And in Monaco, it was kind of similar, where the dorms were within the stadium with the classroom as well, cafeteria and everything, and then everything would be around the training schedule. So we would have classes every day, training every day. Like we would be normal students, but our loads were much different because we had to train and play on the weekend. So we were like pros without being pros.
Yeah. I know in some countries, I work with the Spanish coach, kids were getting paid as young as 13 that weren't pro yet, but our
Yeah,
kids getting,
sometimes you can get paid. Yeah, so I know some guys were getting paid very good money to play because they were standout players for their age group. But that's usually the norm. Yeah.
yeah. So obviously you end up at Ryder. At what point you felt like you weren't going to make it? And, at what point did you decide that I was going to try and take this route and come to the US?
When I didn't sign my pro contract at Monaco, I was like, "Oof, this is going to be very difficult," because I had just gone through an injury. Like I broke my foot, and I was coming back, so it's very hard to get tryouts and be seen and find a team. And so for 6 months, I didn't do anything. Like actually, it was a work. I was an employee at Zara. I was just working at that clothing brand. So, and then at some point, I had the opportunity to do like a tryout in front of like a combine in front of college coaches, and I was like, you know what? I had good grades. Let me go play overseas, enjoy the adventure, go to school without really thinking about I need to make it if I go there. It was more about the adventure. Go there, study, get a degree, play soccer, have fun, and go from there. And then I really enjoyed it because I kind of found the love for the game again. We had such a good group of guys, and we did pretty well for the school it was, honestly. And slowly but surely, like and the coach I was playing for, his name is Charlie Inverso, which is very very well connected in the soccer world in the US. I guess because of his connection, I think I was able to get that tryout at Red Bull, and this is how it all happened. I never really, of course, at some point at the end of my college career, I was like, I want to go to the combine because it's fun, it's something everybody dreams of. But it didn't happen for me, unfortunately. But I never thought coming to the US would mean I would actually go and fulfill my dream of playing professional soccer. So I know a lot of French players that have come here and studied and hoping to become professionals, but then ended up staying and working because they like the lifestyle and like everything around it. So yeah, it's been a blessing, honestly.
Yeah, were you one of those? I played with a lot of foreign guys in college, but were you one of these guys that were like, I just want to come to the US, like just drop me off somewhere? Or did were you picking between and like doing your research? Okay, like this school makes sense for me. This school, I don't want to be in this city. What was that like for you? 'Cause I know a couple guys who are like a couple of teammates that I had at Creighton in Omaha, and they're like, I had no idea what I was getting myself into when I got off the plane.
Yeah, I did my research. I always do my research. the story is that I had a full scholarship to go to UNC Chapel Hill, and they thought that I didn't have enough credit, or my grades were not good enough to be able to be eligible for the school, and so they gave my scholarship away. And Rider University was the only D1 left. I actually committed verbally to a D3 in Kentucky, like one of the top D3 in the US. And when that school as a D1 came, I was like, I want to go D1 because it sounds good. D1 sounds better than D3, but I had no idea how the whole system worked because we didn't. The people that sent me here didn't really explain to me how it worked, where were the best schools, what I was looking at. So I think that's my biggest regret coming here is not being able to go to a bigger school. And that's when I say bigger school, like a school with like 30, 40,000, like a
Real college experience.
college experience, like big sports school, like a football team and stuff like that. But on the other hand, like I don't think maybe if I went to a bigger school, maybe I wouldn't be here today. So I think everything happens for a reason, and I think I landed at Ryder with that coach who knows a lot of people and kind of helped me through everything and got me where I am today. So yeah, I'm kind of very grateful for it.
Did you ever consider transferring, or were you like, I'm happy here, like I'm doing well. There's no point to make a change.
There was no point in transferring because at the time I think I would lose a year of eligibility or something if I transferred, and I only had a 2 year. I came as a junior, so at the end of the day, I was like, there's no point. Let's stay here. We were gonna try to win the championship and go to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 15 years, which we did. So it was a great ending for me.
Yeah. So obviously transitioning, you got the opportunity to come as Red Bulls too initially. Talk about your experience playing with New York Red Bull. Obviously it's a global brand, not just New York Red Bull, but talk about their style of play and how you were able to fit into that piece, be that piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I think it's a very unique style of play. Um, but I think at the time when I got there, they had the right people in the right places. And when I say this, I talk about John Wolnick, who was the USL second team coach, and then obviously Jesse March, who's the one who kind of brought me in to the Red Bull system. So those two coaches really like shaped who I am as a player even more today. But yeah, it was a very unique style, but with very unique players. And I think the year I was there, like my first 2 years, because I don't remember when you got there.
I was
But
there for your second because you guys won, and then I came in the year after.
my first year, like the team was stacked, and as we talked earlier, like having a good locker room, knowing each other, and knowing our role within the team made it so easy. And I think when you have coaches that are very simple and direct and have a clear messages, make it 100 times easier to understand, and you want to go play for them because you want to do everything you can to win for them. At the time, I don't think Red Bull was. It was a big brand, but that connection with Europe was still on the merge. It was still not there as it is today. Uh, but yeah, it was such a unique experience, and I only have like very good memories there.
Yeah. What was it like playing for? You played for Jesse for. I know you obviously trained a lot with the first team, but obviously I think you spent more time with Chris.
I
But what was
played.
it like?
I think
What
I
was it
was.
like playing for Jesse and Chris?
I played more with Jesse
Okay.
because I got there, and so I spent until he left. It was probably 2.5 years, and I trained every day with the first team. And he's the one who brought me in, so I spent a lot of time with him. When Chris took over, I think we spent a little bit less than a year as a head coach. So yes, overall, I spent more time with Chris because he was the assistant and became the head
Yeah.
coach. But I was under Jesse's like teaching in some way for more time. I think the difference between Jesse and Chris is that I think Chris enjoyed the possession of the ball a little bit more, whereas Jesse is like against the ball, try to win it as high as you can, and how quickly can we project ourselves forward and go try to score a goal. Which, when you have everybody buy into it, is just amazing to be a part of a team like that. The amount of time we went to a game, and after 50 minutes, we're like, "There's no way we're losing this game." Like we're all over them. Is just such a good feeling.
Yeah, I remember training with Jesse a few times, and it was funny. Guys would be arguing. You know, usually when you start like a scrimmage at the end of training, everyone wants to start with the ball. And it was the first time in my life where I was like, everyone wanted the other team to have the ball because they wanted to go press and win the ball high up. And I was like, whoa, this is like, I mean, it's an interesting culture. I mean, it's like embedded in the DNA of the club, just like how Jesse works. But it was really funny to see that nobody wanted the ball. They just wanted to go press and no passing, just press and win the ball and finish. You know?
Exactly.
So yeah, how are they? How is Jesse able to like, you know, elevate your game and really get the best out of you as a player?
I think he like the funny story is that when I did the tryout, like the combine, at the time you had so Jesse was the head coach, Chris Armas was the assistant, Dennis Samler was the assistant as well. And during those 2 day tryout combine, I was like, Dennis Samler was in my ear, just screaming at me the whole time. And I was like, after the 2 days, I was like, there's no way there's no way I'm getting a call back, you know. And they actually did, and I think they were very hard on me. And I think what helped me the most is I think I'm at best when you kind of challenge me. And the year I made the transition from second team to first team in preseason, I was doing very bad. And one day he just brings me into his office. It's like, listen, you're really bad right now. Like if you don't pick it up next week, you're out. And from there on, like just with the pressure and the fact that he also pushed me to seek like he's the one who pushed me to go see sports psychologist, which helped with the mentality of the game and then the next play mentality, which nowadays is just a big plus in my game. Like, how can you go from making a mistake to thinking about what's next? What can I do next to just make it up for it? I think that's I think what helped me the most, and helped me grow as a person, but also as a player, and then be more free playing the game.
Yeah. Do you feel like using that sports psychology, the help you were able to receive? Do you feel like that's something you help with the younger players that you share locker rooms with now, especially in Oakland? You know, in Loudon. You know, you guys have a lot of young guys. I know there's a lot of young guys in Oakland, but is that something that you're trying to help guys out with, or you kind of staying in your own lane and come do your job, go home?
No, I think I'm trying to be a resource for them. I think when I see a player struggling or a player who's questioning himself without saying anything, but you can tell with his body language or the way he's training. I'm always here to listen. I think listening is important, giving perspective is important. I think my journey um, is very unorthodox, and I've been through a lot, whether it is like not making it, injuries, and stuff like that. So I think I'm a big resource for those players. But we also have that chance to have access to uh, sports psychology with in USL, but also in MLS. So I kind of encourage those guys usually to do it because it's very helpful to have someone outside of the bubble, just who's usually someone who's been in sport, being able to give you a different perspective and a different image and vision of what we're going through and give you tips on how to handle those situations.
Yeah. Do you guys have somebody internally in Oakland now, or is it outsourced
Not
through
internally,
USL?
not internally. We have someone through the USLPA. But for example, in Cincinnati, we had someone in house who would come like once a week, for example. So that's physical presence and that option of being able to talk to someone is massive.
Yeah. If you could share, talking about obviously after Red Bulls, you made a couple stops in the USL between. You were with Cincinnati when they're MLS, though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I got traded from Red
Yeah.
Bulls.
Yeah. I mean, I guess talk about your experience playing in Cincy, Miami, Loudon. Obviously now in Oakland, you're fairly new, but talk about the big shift for you between going. You spent 6 years in New York, and then now you go and you know, you kind of bounce around a little bit and through different, I mean, very cool places between, I mean, Cincinnati is an awesome city. Miami obviously speaks for itself, but how was that adjustment for you coming from the East Coast? Obviously, riders on the East Coast as well, but now you're getting to experience all different kinds of the U.S.
Yeah, it was very. I think I'm fortunate enough to have done like very nice cities, like New Jersey, New York, like Jersey City, New York, Cincinnati was very awesome. Such a very cool experience on and off the field. They always had that amazing infrastructure, amazing players. They just, I think, lacked the structure within the front office, which the year I left, they changed everything. And the next year, like they finished like in the top of the league almost. So yeah, I love my time at Cincy, even if it was very short. Um, Playing wise, I think difference between MLS and USL is the speed of the decision making and understanding of the game. USL is very physical, so is MLS. So I think it's equivalent, but the way players uh, register and analyze situations is much faster at MLS level. But then off the field, I think Miami's Miami. If you love to party, it's the place to be, which is not who I am.
Yeah,
Uh, the scenes of like being able to go to the beach and having
yeah.
this most of the year, and the heat, the humidity is a bit of a struggle, especially when you train on turf and play on turf all year round. Um, but yeah, I think it was a fun experience. And then Loudoun's different. It's in Virginia, like suburbs of DC. Very humid too, but more greener. You have more of a seasons, and I think the people are. It's more of a slower pace lifestyle. Where I live was more like family like suburbs where very nice houses, very slow, nothing much to do. But
Did you get any opportunities to come in with DC United? I don't know if the what the partnership was like when you were with Loudon, but
I
there
think
were
on
guys.
paper it's still a partnership. But for my 2 years there, no one ended up going there from the USL. I know we had a bunch of academy guys who would go back and forth because they were with DC Academy, but from the USL, no one had the chance to do it, which is kind of a shame because I think we had very good players and some of them could have gone there to just test themselves and see if there was a possibility. But yeah, I think along the way, I think it's been a fun journey because I was about to retire right after Miami because I didn't really much love soccer anymore, and I met the coach. I was like, oh, his vision of soccer is interesting. Why not give myself another year and see? And after the first year, I was like, where can I sign? Like, I want to stay here another year and build on what we've built because we have a good group. We are moving forward towards something that's very interesting to me, the way we play. And here I am now. I followed him here in Oakland. The Bay Area is very, very different from the East Coast. I think the weather is unbelievable. Oakland, San Francisco area gives you two different vibes. And honestly, I'm very, very happy with my decision. Like, I love it. Like, you can see, like, you have the sun coming into my face right
Yeah,
now. So on
yeah,
the 17th floor of a building, I have a beautiful view. Like, I honestly can't complain.
yeah. What's what's been your favorite part about Oakland off the field so far?
The food scene, and it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, the food trucks. Food trucks are awesome.
Yeah,
Uh,
so many restaurants, and honestly, yeah, I'm a big food person. And yeah, I haven't been disappointed once yet. So yeah, I would say the food by far.
nice. What's the environment been like? Obviously, it's changed a lot since I played there. Obviously, playing at the Coliseum is amazing. The facility, using the former Raiders facility, also just seeing the videos, and I saw Australia is going to be doing their pre World Cup camp there. Says volume about how professional it is, but talk about like your experience, like just walking in day one and being like, this is cool.
This is a very, very professional environment. As you said, the training facility is top because it's the former Raiders training facility. The field is pristine, and it has to be because now, as you said, Australia is coming for the World Cup. It feels good to feel like a pro again. Honestly, you get in and you kind of don't want to leave because you have everything there, and we have a good group, and we want to hang out with each other while taking care of ourselves. And then yeah, the Coliseum. I think I have a lot to learn about the history of the city and the sports team here. But man, it was so much fun. The home opener, 15,000 people, a win, have a concert halftime, and then fireworks at the end. Like everything was set to have for it to be the perfect night. The only I think negative for me was like not being able to play, but I'll make it up for it at some point. But it was just Oakland has everything to be one of the top team in this league and make a big impact in USL soccer and in soccer in general in this country. So I'm very excited to be part of this. Very, very
Yeah,
excited to be part of this thing.
and I think the unique part about Oakland is it's obviously it's a sports club, but it's more than that. It's the brand just carries so much weight. I was like 6 months ago. I was driving and I saw a guy wearing an Oakland Roots sweatshirt in Chicago, and I was like, "That's." I don't even know if this guy knows what Oakland Roots, like the actual meaning of, whether it's a soccer club, whatever it is. But the fact that I saw somebody rocking that in Chicago is pretty cool to see. That the brand is, reaching other people, and it's very aesthetically pleasing. I would say the colors are cool. Idris has done an amazing job with, you know making the club, like putting it above and beyond of what I expected it to be. Obviously, when I was there, it was we were Nisa, so
You guys were
it
starting
was
something different. Yeah, they've done such a
yeah.
good job with the
But
marketing.
even in Nisa, man, like the infrastructure we had on the marketing side was like incredible. People were talking about Oakland Roots and USL, and there were like talks about like this club should be playing USL. Our roster was incredible. They've always invested in everything. So that was, for me, made my experience awesome and kind of tying into what you were saying about your first game. Even before when they were playing at Laney College, it was same idea, man. It was everyone's dancing, everyone's having a good time. And the culture there, the soccer culture is awesome, especially now that the A's are gone. The Warriors moved to San Francisco. There's really no other team in Oakland besides the Roots. So, and
Big,
yeah,
big gap to fill.
yeah. Have you been to a block party yet?
A what?
Block party?
Is it the thing on Thursday? It's the first Thursday of the month.
That's right.
I've been the one in San Francisco, not the one in Oakland yet.
No, you got to go to the one in Oakland. Talk to Nana. He'll let you know which ones are good, where it's at. Yeah. So you spoke about obviously how Ryan Martin, your coach now, found your was able to like refine your passion of the game. Why would you like why like what did he do that was very different than any other coach you've had?
I think I think his style of play, way he sees the game, and the way he wants to play was very appealing to me. Like, yes, I love pressing, and I love like I have that Red Bull DNA still in me, but I still enjoy the playing football and having the ball in possession or a ball oriented coach where possession matters, but also it's a mix of both, like pressing and everything. And I think he was able to bring in the right type of players as humans, but also as soccer players to make our football like very appealing and enjoying being a part of it. And the way he trains, the way he coaches, like you wake up in the morning, you like there's no days where I'm like I don't want to go train. Like I do want to go train, even though I know or I have an idea of because of the day it is, like what kind of drills we're gonna do. Like I still want to do it because I really enjoy it and I see where we're going and I want to be part of it.
Yeah. And I mean, considering you guys are also off to 2-0 start, top of the table, the roster's good. Uh, it's going to be nice to kind of follow the team and see where you guys end up. But, I think the first few years in USL were kind of like the testing of, what works, what doesn't. And I think that obviously Ryan had a lot of success at Loudon, and now coming over to Oakland, he's able to implement his style. He brought obviously you. I think what Tommy McCabe came with you as well, right? I don't know if there's any other guys from Loudon, but bringing that culture over, I'm sure aids to the that dynamic of the team. So I'm
Yeah,
I'm,
I
I'm
think
excited to see where you guys go.
yeah, I think it's the, one of the big things for me is how much I've learned under him, not only from of soccer but outside soccer, how to manage a team, to manage players, and to manage the outside noise because he's done very good stuff at Loudon with little help. And being able to pick his brain and be by his side and understanding the situations and what to do, what not to do is very like I'm we're very lucky to be a part of it because we're learning so much. And as I'm falling into like the end of my career, playing career, like I want to learn as much as possible and I want to follow people that can help me elevate me as a person and potentially help me find a different path after playing. And I think he's the right person.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you with some rapid fire questions. Just feel free. You can elaborate a little bit, but first one, best player that you've ever played with.
There are so many like actual players. I don't know how to explain. Like in a game, in a training, like
Game,
I
game,
was
Ga-
able
the guy that you show up to a finals of a cup game, the guy that you knew was going to have his best game, whether goalkeeper, center back,
uh,
striker.
sorry for the bad word, but there's so many. Like at Red Bull, there were so many guys. Like from the one that comes to mind, Bradley Wright Phillips, really underrated player in MLS, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
and one coming up was Tyler Adams. Man, so fun to play. Unbelievable motor and passion and maturity for his age was just unbelievable.
yeah. Best coach that you ever played for.
I'm gonna say Jesse March.
Okay.
He's the one
Uh,
who gave me the chance, so I'll say that.
funniest teammate you've ever played with.
Funniest.
Yeah. In terms of like locker room banter, a guy that like if you're having the worst day, somehow is able to make you smile.
I would say it was at Loudon. This guy is always like super. There's two always like super positive people and joking around and connecting people. One, his name is Wes Leggett. He plays for Monterey, and the other one is Keegan Tiggy, who plays with me here.
Okay.
Those two like always positive and happy, making me
uh, favorite away city to play in the U.S.
away to
Yeah,
play.
yeah,
I think my favorite game to play was Atlanta United,
okay,
2018, full stadium, Mercedes Benz. It was unbelievable.
yeah. That's my next question. Best away fans that you've experienced in the
Yeah,
U.S.
that is
Atlanta.
if I pick from in the US. Okay, in the US, it was say Mercedes Benz. Yeah, Atlanta. You couldn't hear each other 5 yards apart. Like it was unclosed, 70,000 people. So like it's crazy.
Uh, the most famous player you've ever played with.
The most famous played with. I'll say, yeah, I'll say Ferrat Carrasco. He scored. He scored in the Champions League. Played for national team, like Belgium national team. Yeah, I think I would say the most famous. Yeah,
Okay. Uh, famous player that you've never met, but that you'd love to grab a glass of wine with and just like have a conversation with.
Zidane.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a good one. Is he
just
is he your idol?
my idol was Thierry Henry, which I got to meet at people, so that's done.
That's awesome. You got a picture with him?
Yeah,
Autograph it? Yeah, that's sick. So just like navigating the day, the day to day as a pro, obviously it takes a toll on your body. You're not an 18-year-old anymore. And I know you've battled some pretty bad injuries. I know you had a bad ACL injury, meniscus as well. Two, yeah, two. How were you able to stay sharp after? Obviously, the first one was difficult, but like going back to back, you came back again. How were you able to navigate that? I know you spoke a little bit about using a sports psychologist, but what
I
were you
think
able to do to get through?
yeah, I think first and foremost, I think it's It happened at Red Bull when I was in MLS, and I think I had the best doctors and PTs around me. So obviously, coming off a very good season or half season with the first team was very it was very hard at first to go through the injury, but I was like, listen, I've done it. Like I was good. It's an injury. I'll come back stronger. And I think the support system I had around me, whether it was my family, my friends, at the time, my roommate, who played a big part of it, and the sports psychologist, I think it made the recovery a little bit easy. The second time was even easier because I knew I could make it and I could do it because I had done it once. But yeah, when you shave, like you lose 2 years of your career from a back-to-back ACL injury. It's never easy to come back. You're never back the same. So let's just be real. Like you're different because your body is different. Your body adapts to the injuries. You lose in speed, you lose in mobility, and now it's how can you not certainly like change the way you play, but how can you adapt and still be impactful in training and in games while still taking care of your body and making sure you're still mobile and fit enough to play. And I think I learned too late that taking care of your body was very important. And so when I see now those young players coming up and doing pre workout mobility stuff and stretches, I'm like, yeah, well done. Like you doing something right.
Yeah. How have you had to change your game after the injuries? Do you feel like it took away from what gave you that first contract, or uh,
Now I think it's more.
are you
Uh,
more calculate? Are you more calculated in terms of like, the extra run, like that maybe you could have made before? You've had to like change, like, all right, I'm going to pull out on this one because I know I might be late and it might not make sense.
yeah, that and I think stepping out of the actual playing, looking the game from the outside, you learn a little bit more too, like watching it, positioning wise. I used to be, well, I can still play as a winger. I had a lot of pace, and but now I'm more in the heart of the field where I can find pockets and then play in between lines. So it's more about adapting. I can still run, I can still press very well, but it's those repetitions and the sprints and the loads are taking a little bit of a toll on my body at times, which takes me a bit of time to recover. Which Oakland is amazing because it's grass now, and so my body is just feeling revived now. It's amazing, but yeah, you probably don't have the. I don't have the same speed. I do have the same intensity, but at some point my body tells me like, okay, you have to slow down a little bit. Just be a bit mindful. Where I could do like 12 sprints and pressing triggers or stuff like that, now I can do like 8, 9. So I can feel it, but the passion takes over and it just keeps me running.
Yeah. Talk about like navigating through the different emotions as a player. Obviously, you've had the highest of high moments playing in the MLS, and then obviously, the setbacks of the ACL, the injuries, not loving the game. Talk about how you self talk for yourself to get through the tough moments, or positive self talk when you're at the top, and you got to keep yourself humble. I think that's important as a player to understand where you kind of stand, but talk about your experience with that.
Yeah, for me, I love the next play mentality. Whether it's when you play or when you do something good or when you get accolades, it's like, okay, well, this just happened. It's behind you. What can you do next? How do you prepare the next game when you just came out of a really good game and you got named team of the week, for example? Or what can you do when you have a bad game and your team loses? I think it's just staying the same, very level headed no matter what. And I think at the highest level, the most important is how consistent can you be. To the high and the lows is how can you stay mentally steady and level and not be impacted by the outside noise and always wanting to get better. The reason why I keep playing is because I know I can still get better. Physically, probably not. Probably I already passed my peak and now I'm going down, but I still can do little things better to improve and help my teammates and help my team So yeah, I think that's what drives me every day.
How many years do you think you have left in you in the tank?
Hopefully, a few more.
Yeah.
33 now, so let's say minimum three.
Yeah. Do you have aspirations for a different challenge outside the US? I mean, you spent your whole playing career here. Have you ever wondered what if? Obviously, you have the background, you have the resume, you know, to take a bit of a chance. I know your former teammate, our former teammate Vince, went over to Asia and hasn't looked back. He's crushing it out there. But have you ever thought about something different?
Let me think. Give me 2 seconds. I need to get something out of the oven.
Yeah,
You call me at a time where
yeah.
I haven't really thought about it. Would like at some point to go back home to France. I think being far away from family and friends, it's been kind of difficult. It's been long, and now the question when I go home becomes more persistent as to when are you coming back? When are you moving everything back here? So yeah, I haven't really thought about it. I love being here because soccer is booming and there's so many opportunities. And I think with my playing career and my journey, and I think I can bring a lot to the table. Pro- Professionally, work wise, I think staying here would be anywhere in the US, but in a big soccer market would be very interesting and advantageous. But yeah, overall, I I know like some guys that, as you said, you mentioned Vince. I know he's going to come back to France soon. I kind of envy him because he'll be close to his family and his partner and everything. So, yeah, those are the questions that keep asking myself. And I don't know what the future holds for me, and I don't know who I'll meet along the way that probably will make me decide, yeah, go home or stay here and have a life. So yeah, it's still up in the air.
Yeah. Obviously, you commit most of your day to the game, but what's what do you do off the field to keep yourself sane and keep yourself away from, being immersed in the game all the time?
Oh, I'm always there. Like I coach on the side. I do scouting as well. When it's not soccer, I have my dog here who's actually just sleeping right there. It's actually very nice weather here, so we go on long walks, and I love to read. I love to talk to my friends. I'll be a little bit more manual with stuff, so cooking as well. Um, yeah, I love to explore. I love food. So whenever I have some free time, I go out, explore, get some coffee somewhere, I'll get some good food, and yeah, very simple, very very simple.
You talked about the scouting. Are you scouting with Oakland Roots and Project 510, or are you doing something on the side separately?
I've done something separately. I've worked with U.S. Soccer a little bit to for like youth national teams at the youth level, which has been very fun because it shows you a different perspective and how can you watch a game and 22 players and take notes at the same time is very very difficult. How can you be concise in your reports and everything? So like I've learned a lot. It's a lot of work. It's great because you meet coaches and academy directors and you can pick their brains. So I'm hoping I can continue that here. So we'll see if that happens. But
Do you see the next step for you going into coaching? I know you spoke a bit about doing training, more individual right now, or are you doing team stuff?
I'm doing team. I'm helping out with 510 because I'm doing my B license. So this is just we have that opportunity to do, like the B license while playing as players. I wanted to do it just so I have it in case it's something I decide to do or I need some time to figure out what I want to do so I can just coach. So yeah, it's been interesting.
What's the difference between being a coach and being a player?
It's very difficult as a player to translate what you're thinking and how you view the game in a manner where everybody can understand it. And I think the most difficult part of the license or the coaching course is how can you plan over a week, a month, like through cycles, trainings that makes sense. And it's for me like when you do privates, it's very easy because you get the player, you quickly think, okay, this is my player, he does this, okay, I can do this, this, and that. But when you have 60 plus players and you have a team that needs to play a certain way, you have to think differently and plan differently. And you probably know that better than anybody else right now. So it's very difficult. I find it very difficult to put into words what I'm thinking and how I view the game. And that's been the biggest challenge for me.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think also getting, all those players to buy into what you want, I think is also difficult because as you know, not everyone's going to agree with the way you see the game, and it's translating that and making sure that okay, like, little Jimmy is going to be ready to play for me and he's going to know his role. And it's for me as a coach, I've realized that that's probably the hardest part of getting buy-in from players and having them trust you. And, sometimes, the guys, obviously the guys that are starting, they're all about it. They're like, of course I'm going to play, but especially at the youth level. But then the guys that maybe aren't getting the minutes that they think they deserve, it's like, how do you put your arm around them and continue to have them trust you in the whole process? I think that's been the difficult part as a coach, but you'll experience it at some point if you decide to dip your toes in that realm. Yeah. Well, that's kind of a little piece, but yeah, obviously World Cup is coming up. I just wanted to get your thoughts on, what your expectations are. Do you see this as a big stepping stone? Obviously, you said that the U.S. has grown a lot in the game as a whole, but do you feel like this is the next step for growth to push the game in the U.S. to the same level as France, Germany, England, or do you think it's still going to be a ways away?
No, I think it'll put more eyes on the country's sport, but so far I'm not liking what I'm seeing and hearing. And it was to be expected. America is all about business and making money, and the way this World Cup is looking right now, and when you look at the price of the tickets and hospitality and the way they want to have like uh, what they would call hydration break, no matter what, in every game, just to have some commercials. Like it's kind of taking away the spirit of the game and the spirit of this competition. So right now, I'm very questioning how it's going to look like and pan out. Um, and it's also a different. It's a bigger World Cup this year. I think it's what 46 teams or 48
Yeah,
teams. So and it's a big country. It's over Canada, U.S., and Mexico. So there's a lot of factors and unknown that for me is I'm a little bit worried about. But I think you in America, so everybody will be enthusiastic and very excited about the competition. Um, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, definitely we'll put more eyes on the MLS and the players. And Messi already did that for the sport. So yeah, we'll see.
yeah. Which country are you looking forward to watching aside from France? Because I know France is going to be number one for you.
Um, that's a very good question. I'm very curious. I want the Americans to do well. Obviously, they're home, so and their group seems doable. But yeah, I would love. I'm very curious about Norway. I'm very worried about Norway because Norway is France and playing together against
That's the
each other.
one game. That's honestly the one game I was looking at. I wanted to see what the prices were. That's the one game I'm looking forward to in the group stages because I don't know, man. Norway is scary. This generation right now is obviously Bodo Glimt had a big run in Champions League. The culture there is in the right direction right now. So I'm curious to see how they do.
Them and yeah, we'll see how Argentina do and
Yeah.
Messi in his last World Cup.
I'm surprised you didn't give a shout out to Canada. I figured Canada was
Here, Jesse March. Yeah, no, but we'll see. I always will support France. I would love to see a France Canada and see how that goes.
yeah, yeah.
But no, yeah, obviously I forgot about Jesse March in Canada, so I'll definitely be looking forward to it. They've done very well since he took over, so very excited to see how that goes for them.
Yeah, player that you're most excited to watch at the World Cup.
Turkey,
Oh, dude,
Turkey.
he's
I
nasty.
love Olise.
Okay,
Michael
Shirky's
Olise.
Shirky's awesome. I honestly I can watch him play all day. He's amazing.
He's very fun to watch. Like he's the type of players you would pay to go watch because you know something's gonna happen every time he has the ball. So
Yeah. And then last one, who would you want to see? You know, finals, and the team to win the cup.
remake of 2022 and have France win the whole thing this time.
Little revenge game.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, Flo, thank you so much for taking the time, man. I really appreciate it.
my
Uh,
pleasure.
I'm excited to see. Obviously, the project in Oakland is taking a big step. I'm happy you're there. I think you add a lot to the culture, and I'm excited to see. Hopefully, you guys make the playoffs and make a big run. I think the city needs it. I think, man, I can't imagine what would happen in the Bay Area if you guys made it to the finals. I feel like it would be block party times 100. It would be an absolute place to be. But no, man, looking forward to following you the rest of the year, and good luck. Okay.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, hopefully that's the goal. We wanna do well for ourselves, but also for the community here, and I think it's in the right direction. It might take a little bit of time, but obviously every project takes a bit of time. But yeah, I'm excited to be part of it. Honestly, good things are coming.
Yeah, man. Awesome.
Thanks, David.
Of course. Take care.
Yeah.